This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar session about business plan, organized in the scope of the Erasmus Plus Project Small Business Development Center for Young Entrepreneurs. The topic will be presented by Mitya Bukovec, and after he finishes his presentation, you will be able to ask questions. Let's begin with the presentation.
Welcome to Module 9, Business Plan. The goal of this module is to understand the importance of preparing a well-designed business plan to help run a business with a more cohesive vision. The primary purpose of a business plan is to define what the business is or what it intends to be over time. Secondly, by putting statistics, facts, figures, and detailed plans in writing, a new business has a better chance of attracting investors to provide the capital needed for getting started. In the first part, we will make an introduction to business plan, which represents an effective way of defining one's goals and the steps needed to reach them. We will continue with business plan types in their classification. In the third part, we will look at the most important elements of a good business plan. The last part is dedicated to Business Model Canvas, which is a strategic management and startup template for developing new or documenting existing business models. It is estimated that as many as 80% of businesses fail within the first 18 months of their existence. While there are a number of factors at play that dictate how well a business will do, there are a couple of tried and tested steps that can help a company reach the top 20%. One of them is to ensure that it starts out with a clear business plan. A business plan is an outline of an opportunity to create a profitable business in a chosen market. Business owners find plans useful at all stages of their company's existence. A business plan is a written description of a business future, a document that tells what entrepreneurs plans to do and how they plan to do it. If you don't know a paragraph on the back of an envelope describing your business strategy, you have essentially written a plan. Business plans are inherently strategic. We start here, today, with certain resources and abilities. We want to get to a point in the future, usually there are 3 to 5 years out, at which time of business will have a different set of resources and abilities, as well as greater profitability and increased assets. A company's business plan is one of its most important documents. It can be used by managers and executives for internal planning. It can be used as the basic for loan applications from banks and other lenders. It can be used to persuade investors that the company is a good investment. Business plans help entrepreneurs identify and focus on potential problem areas, both inside and outside the company. Once potentially troublesome areas have been identified, proposed solutions and contingency plans can be incorporated into the plans. Most business plans are tailored according to their specific use and intended audience. They represent an action plan, a roadmap, and a sales tool for a business. Action plan. You may have been thinking for years about starting a business or engaging in a venture, but the process may seem too daunting, too large, and too complicated. A business plan will pull apart the pieces of starting a business and examine each piece by itself. It can move you to action by breaking down a seemingly insurmountable task into many smaller, less intimidating tasks. Roadmap. Once you have started your business, a business plan can be an invaluable tool to help keep you in track and moving in the direction you want to go. It is very easy to lose sight of your objectives and goals, but a business plan can help you keep focus. It can also serve to help others understanding your business vision. Sales tool. You will probably need outside financing to start your business, and a business plan is the tool you need to convince investors to come on board. You may also want and need concessions from suppliers and consumers. Finally, you may need to convince family members or even yourself that ideas will be fruitful. A well-written business plan can serve to sell people close to you on the benefits of proceeding with your concept. Business plans are not historical documents about a company's past performance. Rather, They are planning documents that provide information to decision makers who can help the company achieve its goals and objectives. Perhaps the most important reason to write a business plan is that it requires entrepreneurs to engage in a rigorous and trust process that is essential before starting a viable venture. It requires from the entrepreneur to answer hard questions about the venture. Why is there a need for the product or service? Who is target market? How is this product or service different from other competitors? What is the competitive advantage? How profitable is the business and what are the cash flows? How should the business be funded? The best thing about a solid business plan is that it forces entrepreneurs to plan ahead and make provisions for the unexpected. An added benefit is that by virtue of going through this process as an entrepreneur will have established a sound basis for verbally communicating the alternatives of their ventures. Business plans are frequently written to obtain additional funding. Startup capital may be needed for a new venture. New capital may be needed to acquire assets for expansion, or equity financing might be needed to support a company's long-range growth. Potential leaders of debt or equity financing are usually concerned with minimizing the risks and maximizing the return on their investment. It is important when composing a business plan to the audience to make a strong financial presentation and provide adequate documentation of projected revenues and costs. When writing a business plan to investors, entrepreneurs should make sure that the business plan looks professional. So the reader most likely has a huge pile of plans he needs to go through, and he cannot afford to waste time on something that does not look serious enough. Make sure that the plan is nicely formatted and does not make a bad first impression. The executive summary is short, accurate, and appealing. The executive summary is nothing more than an extended elevator pitch. In 5 minutes, the reader must be able to understand who the entrepreneur is, what they do, how big the business can get, how much money it's going to cost, and how much money they need from him. This is not need to cover everything. Just focus on getting the reader excited about the business. If the business plan faces this initial phase, the investor will start looking into details of the entire plan. Business plans are not all the same anymore than all businesses are. Plans differ widely in their length, their appearance, the detail of their contents, and the varying emphasis they place on different aspects of the business. You want your plan to present you and your business in the best, most accurate light. Types of business plans include feasibility plans, annual plans, internal plans, operations plans, growth plans, and more. These different types are drafted to match different business situations. With different circumstances, many different pieces of information are included in the business plan. A more elaborated plan is not guaranteed to be supported to an abbreviated one, depending on what you want to use it for. The startup plan. The startup plan is the most standard plan that explains the steps for developing new business. It includes topics such as organization, product or service offering, marketplace, business forecast, strategy, management team, implementation milestones, and financial analysis. First year, monthly projections are shown. The mini plan. The mini plan may consist of 1 to 10 pages and should include at least cursory attention to such key matters as business concepts, financing, marketing plan, and financial statements, especially cash flow, income projection, and balance sheet. It can serve as a valuable prelude to a full-length plan later on. The working plan. The working plan is a tool to be used to operate one's business. It has to be long on detail but may be short on a presentation. A plan intended strictly for internal use may also omit some elements that would be important in one aimed at someone outside the firm. There is no need to be careful about typos in the text, being consistent with date formats and so on. The annual or operational plan. The annual or operational plan are not made to tell investors how an entrepreneur intends on turning a profit in the span of 5 years. It is simply where they expect to be in 365 days. It can also be used to attract investors at the very beginning. They are perfect for companies that expect to make big changes in that not so far distant future. The strategic plan. The strategic plan is usually part of an internal business plan. There are the strategy the team must carry out to achieve the intended goals, including business strengths, weaknesses, and how it's going to utilize the opportunities. These types of plans typically skip the more detailed financial data and milestones. The growth plan. The growth plan focuses on specific areas of the business. Depending on whether these business plans are likely to new investments or loan applications, they could be classified as internal plans or not. Although detailed financial projections may not be given, forecast of the sales as well as the expenses for the new business venture is at least included in details. The electronic plan. The electronic plan, more and more business information is sent electronically. An electronic version of business plan can be handy for presentation to a group using a computer-driven overhead projector or for satisfying the demands of an investor who wants to be able to delve deeply into the underpinnings of complex bridgeheads. There is no right or wrong answer to the type of business plan you choose, only that the business absolutely needs one for long-term success. Each type of reader has certain types typical interests. If you know these interests upfront, you can take them into account when preparing a plan for the particular audience. Make sure that the plan can be modified, depending on the audience reading it. However, keep these alternations limited from one plan to another. This means when sharing financial projections, keep the data the same across the board. A good business plan follows generally accepted guidelines for form and content. There are three primary parts to a business plan. The first is the business concept, where entrepreneurs discuss the industry, their business structure, their particular product or service, and how they plan to make their business a success. The second is the marketplace section, in which entrepreneurs describe and analyze potential customers, who and where they are, what makes them buy, and so on. They also describe the competition and how they will position themselves to beat it. The financial section. The financial section contains their income and cash flow statement, balance sheet, and other financial ratios, such as break-even analysis. This part may require help from an accountant and good spreadsheet software program. In addition to these sections, a business plan should also have a cover, title page, and a table of contents. Entrepreneurs should be updating their business plans every month, every week, and every day, whenever things change. And things always change. While this might seem like chaos, it's actually the opposite. The constantly updated business plan is what makes order out of chaos. It becomes a long-term planning process that sets up a business strategy, objectives, and the steps an entrepreneur needs to take constantly, being aware of the results of the steps. Plans are about the future, and nobody gets the future right very often. It is important to keep the plan fresh and watch closely as reality moves forward. A good business plan is never finished. A typical business plan runs 15 to 20 pages. Much will depend on the nature of the business. If an entrepreneur has a simple concept, they may be able to express it in very few words. On the other hand, if they are proposing a new kind of business or even a new industry, it may require much more explanations. The purpose of the plan also determines its length. If the plan will be used to seek financing to start a risky venture, it may involve a lot of explaining and convincing. If it will be used for internal purposes to manage an ongoing business, a much more abbreviated version should suffice. Elements of a good business plan should include an exclusive summary, a company overview with a short mission statement, description of the product or service, market and industry analysis, as well as marketing plan, an operations sections, an organizational structure and management team, and a section with the financial projections. The executive summary should be a maximum of 2 pages. It is very difficult to do, but being succinct has great benefits when trying to capture the attention of investors. The summary should address the following elements of the plan. Concept description, summary of these essences of the businesses. Opportunity, why is this a good opportunity? What is the compelling need? Products, service, description of the product or service, how is to be produced. Value proposition, who is the target market? What are the benefits to the market? Marketing strategy, what are the key elements of the marketing strategy? Competitive advantage, who is the competition? Management, who is the management team and why will they be successful? Finances, how large will the company become? When will it break even? Funding, how much funding is required? What is the exit strategy? The company overview is a brief one-page description of the company and the entrepreneur has funded or wants to fund. It should tell the reader what an entrepreneur wants to accomplish with this venture. It can include a description of the organization structure, if it's sole proprietorship, partnership, or corporation. It can also explain entrepreneurs' ambitions for the company, if they plan for it always be a small, or do they want to grow it into a national giant. Upon reading this section, the reader should have a good idea of where an entrepreneur is and where they plan to take their company. In the company overview, an entrepreneur should try to answer the following question in a single paragraph. What is the name of the company? Does the company already exist or will it be forming in the near future? Where is it located? Do they have any plans for expansion? How is the company organized? Is it sole proprietorship, partnership, or corporation? A mission statement is a short, inspirational statement of the vision and goals an entrepreneur has to their company. It needs to be succinct and content-rich, and it should excite the readers of the business plan. A production plan is usually included if the business is involved in manufacturing a product. It contains information that allows for budgeting for service costs as labor and materials. In non-manufacturing companies, this section would cover new service development. This is where an entrepreneur should begin to sell their idea by generating some excitement about the product or service. They need to be factual, but also enthusiastic. The main source of information for this section can include technical specification and drawings, prototypes, SWOT analysis, customer surveys, competitors' products or service matrices, interviews with experts in the marketplace, including buyers, suppliers, sales representatives, wholesalers, distributors, and retailers. Features. This section of the business plan should include all the products or service features. It should have description of the important attributes such as ease of use, innovativeness, or speed. There should be a section about customer service or tech support the company will provide. There should be information about production, delivery, and packaging. This section should also include an explanation about the payment terms and prices. Entrepreneurs should try to paint a picture of why their product or service is unique. Benefits. This section should describe the benefits to the target market. When considering the benefits of a product or service, remember the features are not the same as benefits. Benefits is an advantage of profit gained from using a product or service. An entrepreneur should think about the impact on the target market's feelings, emotions, and pocketbook, so finances. There could be a helpful features and benefit table. For each of the important features, there should be a corresponding benefits. The stage of development. This section should briefly describe the current status of the product or service. Where is the product in the life cycle? Early, growing, mature, declining? Is it ready for the market, or is it still in development? If in development, how far along is it? What obstacles remain? Business operates within a specific context that affects its growth potential. The section describes the market a company will enter and the industry in which it will compete. The description of a company's operating environment may cover new products and developments in the industry, trends and outlook for the industry, and overall economic trends. Market size and growth. A market consists of a group of customers who are willing to buy a product or a service to satisfy a need. This segment of a business plan should define the market in which a company is competing. The size of the market can be determined in number of customers, and units sold or transactions, and money value of purchase. Trends. Entrepreneurs should determine the trends that are driving the market. They should think about how the market is changing and considering economic, social, cultural, political, global, environmental, demographic, and the technological changes. Positive and negative developments should be described. Even negative trends can be represented opportunities. Target market. This section is devoted to the analysis of the specific market segment that represents the best point of entry for a business. The focus here is on the consumer of the particular product and service. The consumer is different from the entity that buys the products, pays the money. You could also identify a niche that exists which you could exploit. Industry structure. This section describes how the industry as a whole is organized, where and how the goods, services are produced and delivered to customers. It should include information about the level of integration and how the distributors, dealers, and system integrators fit in. You should analyze the supply chain from beginning to end. Competitive environment. This section should describe the competitive environment in the industry. Talk about the elements the companies in the marketplace compete on: quality, price, new products or services introduction, customer support, etc., and about the degree of rivalry among competitors. A highly competitive industry means price competition. Most new firms cannot compete on price. You should find out You should find out the average size of the competitors and if the market is dominated by any bigger players. Competition. Each competitor should get their own paragraph. It should provide a short description of what the company does, its position in the industry, and its strengths and weaknesses. It is very helpful to prepare a competitive matrix analysis that compares a venture with its major competitors. Opportunity. In this section, you should succinctly describe what the opportunity is and why it is attractive. Conclusions need to be based on research, interviews, and particularly the customer surveys. This is key section of the plan. You must make the case that there is attractive opportunity for your venture. Research entrepreneurs do for the marketing subsections for the business plan will be with customers and potential customers. This is where we will show how you're going to fit into the market structure. It is imperative that you do sufficient customers research to convince potential investor that customers will indeed come flocking to buy your products or service. Customer research can include talking with potential customers to get reactions to the product idea, conducting focus groups, undertaking walk-up or mail surveys, putting up a mock demonstration of the concept and soliciting customer feedback, and so on. Creativity in finding ways to get honest customer input about products and service is imperative. You need to be neutral in the factual as you collect data. The right marketing plan turns a good business into a great business. The marketing plan defines the methods and activities that will be employed to reach the company's revenue goals. This section describes the company's customer base, products or services, and marketing and sales programs. The latter is supported by conclusions drawn from market analysis. A great idea is meaningless if you cannot find customers. Target market strategy. This section should describe the target market and provide the profile of the customer that is being targeted to launch the product or service. This should include the characteristics that define target customers, such as demographics and psychographics. Channel strategy. Unless one plans to sell directly to customers, there are many different channels that can be used, depending on industry. Potential channels can include distributors, wholesalers and retailers, equipment manufacturers, system integrators, and value-added retailers, e-commerce, which can also complement other forms of distribution. Positioning. Entrepreneurs should prepare a statement that positions their product or service in the minds of the target customers relative to the competition. The statement should describe the market they are considering, identify the target customer, describe important features, and explain why the customer should care. Pricing strategy. Entrepreneurs can decide among many different pricing strategies, such as commodity pricing, prices set by the market, pricing based on competitors' price, value pricing, industry rule of thumb, industry low price to get customers to use, etc. A business plan should have a list of the prices for each of the products or services that are being offered. E-commerce. This should be an integrated part of the marketing strategy. Entrepreneurs should think about brand building through affiliated programs and email marketing, about website to provide information, product descriptions, and pricing. They should also take into account customers and technical support and externals to provide coordination with customers. Strategy. It is critical that business inform their target market about the availability of the product or service, and that they continue to communicate the benefits. They should consider media advertising, TV, radio, newspapers, and magazines. Direct response advertising, mail, email, text messaging, and infomercials. Outdoor advertisement, billboard, posters, cinema, and vehicles. Brochures, catalogs, trade and consumer promotions, sponsorships, exhibitions, and conferences. Sales strategy. How an entrepreneur will sell the product or service is a critical component of their success. Nothing happens until the sale is actually made. This section of the business plan should describe how the product or service will be sold and who will do the selling. Entrepreneurs also need to think about the way to recruit, train, and compensate the sales force. A revenue model. This section should include a table that forecasts the revenue of the venture over the next 5 years. The key is to consider the drivers of the revenue. For each market, the factors are different. The operations plan will highlight the logistics of the organization, such as various responsibilities of the management team, the tasks assigned to each division within the company, and capital and expense requirements related to the operations of the businesses. It outlines how a company will run its business and deliver value to the customers. Operations is defined as the processes used to deliver products and services to the marketplace and can include manufacturing, exportation, logistics, customers, and technical service. Operation strategy. First part should include a brief introduction to the operations section. This can also be a good place to include a more colorful and evocative description of how an entrepreneur will use operations to add value toward the customers. Second paragraph should describe how marketing strategy will be fulfilled using operations. It should include discussions about the processes for producing and delivering the products or services, about benefits for the customers in the target market, and about coordination with vendors and partners. Scope of operations. This part of the business plan describes which operations will be done in-house and which will be subcontracted, and why that makes sense for the business. When writing this part, you should consider the following elements: production, product development, order fulfillment, customer service, warehouse and shipping, tech support, installation, warranty service, and repairs. The next paragraph should describe how the company will operate on an ongoing basis. It should identify the key vendors, suppliers, strategic partners, and associates. Based on the sales forecast, estimations about how much production or service capacity is required over the next 5 years should be made. This is usually expressed as some rate per hour, day, week, month, or year. It is very difficult in the early stages of new business to operate a just-in-time system. The order quantities are too small for suppliers to produce economically in small batches in a deliver to a warehouse every day. The quality of company's management team can be the most important aspect of a business plan. Many claim they will invest in a strong management team with a mediocre idea, but would decline to fund a weak team with a great idea. Entrepreneurs should present the strength of the company's management team by highlighting relevant experience, achievements, and past performance. Key areas include management's ability to provide planning, organizational skills, and leadership. This is not the place for modesty or self-deprivation. You should be honest, highlight your accomplishment and capacities while mitigating any obvious shortcomings or weaknesses. For example, if you are young and inexperienced, you can actually accentuate your energy, capacity for hard work, and willingness to learn while downplaying your lack of experience. When readers are finished with this section, we want them to be confident that the ventures is in the good hands and will become completely manageable. This is also where the entrepreneur describes how the company will be organized. There should be an organization chart. This section should include an explanation if there will be a board of directors or board of advisors, who will be one of them in their role. It should describe the ownership structure of the company, as well as any possible stock option plans. Founders and principal managers who will run the company need to be described. Their duties and responsibilities, any unique skills they might have, should be described in great details. If there is a significant hole in the team, a proposal how to fill it should be included in the business plan. The purpose of the competitive analysis is to determine the strengths and weaknesses of the competitors within the market, strategies that will provide an entrepreneur with a distinct advantage, the barriers that can be developed in order to prevent competition from entering the same market, and any weaknesses that can be exploited within the product development cycle. One of the most difficult but essential tasks that the entrepreneur face is to explain their competitive advantage. This results primarily from an unwillingness to look honestly at the competitor's environment. Secondly, by virtue of being successful, one will create competition. You need to have a good plan for sustaining your competitive advantage when new competitors appear. The following are potential competitive advantages to consider. Strong competitive advantages. Intellectual property, arrangements with customers or suppliers, long-term contracts. Credible competitive advantages. Control of costs, control of prices, control of channel, location, excellent management, expertise. Difficult competitive advantages. First to market, development lead time, quality, brand service, execution, relationship. You should try to identify the venture's resources. Think about the financial resources, access to capital, cash reserves, and government grants. Physical assets, equipment, location, and working capital. Human resources, employee knowledge, experience, accumulated wisdom, labor cost, and skills. Intangible resources, patents, trade secrets, know-how, copyrights, and database. And organizational resources, contracts, policies, suppliers, and service providers. Try to think about the barriers you can establish that would restrict entry of new competitors. They could be in the form of intellectual property, like patents, trade secrets, copyrights, and trademarks. Customer loyalty, control of the distribution channel, agreements with customers, suppliers, strategic partners, or switching costs to the target market. This section covers the financing and cash flow requirements in other areas of the business plan. It contains projections of income, expenses, and cash flow, as well as descriptions of budgeting and financial controls. Financial projections must be supported by verifiable facts, such as sales figures or market research. Monthly figures are generally given for the first 2 years, followed by annual figures for the next 3 to 8 years. Financial projections should support everything that was written about the venture in the previous section of the business plan. An entrepreneur has outlined a great business concept, demonstrated a real need in the marketplace, shown how they will execute their ideas, proven that their team is just trying to manage the venture, and now they will show how profitable the venture will be. On the other hand, if the business concept is weak, or there is not a market, or is the executive is poor, or the management team is incompetent, the financial plans are doomed to failure. Every business plan should include the following financial projections: income statements, balance sheets, cash flow, break-even analysis, financial comparisons, and assumptions. The business model canvas, also known as BMC, was developed by Alexander Osterwalder, Yves Pinot, and others in response to need for a commonly understood business model concept, one that could facilitate description and discussion. What is novel is the idea that you can sketch your strategy, business plan on a single page, rather than writing an extensive business plan. It is a strategic management and a lean startup template for developing new or documenting existing business models. It assists businesses in aligning their activities by illustrating potential trade-offs. It is a very practical tool that fosters understanding, discussion, creativity, and analysis of a business. It helps entrepreneurs create value for their business. When improving an existing business or launching something new, entrepreneurs are facing one big challenge: how to build a strong, profitable business model that can compete in today's market. Once they complete their BMC, they have one-page map of exactly how to create and capture value. The value of business model canvases was and still is today that they allow anyone to quickly identify the key points in the strategy or new business model. From the point on a business can iterate to better strategy or business model, improving its chances of success considerably. BMC can help uncover key opportunities to differentiate any businesses from its competition. Capturing a business model can be easy, but knowing what to improve on can be hard. BMC offers techniques to develop quick prototypes of business model ideas. It is a tool for testing ideas to avoid failure. More than that, anyone using it will get a new mindset that will help them save time, money, and avoid creeping failures. Osterwalder argues business models cooperate in a certain context. Every business model gets pressured from various forces in its environment. Entrepreneurs need to scan their environment to identify possible threats, big opportunities, and fill in the blind spots. Therefore, the following areas to be mapped around the company's BMC. Market forces. These are key customer issues in the particular business arena, such as growing or shrinking segments, customers switching costs, or changing jobs. Key trends. Key trends shaping the business arena, such as technology, innovations, regulatory constraints, or social trends. In industry forces. Key actors in the business space, such as competitors, rising value chain actors, and new fading technology providers. Macroeconomic forces. Macro trends, such as global market conditions, access to resources, and high or low commodities prices. Osterwalder and Pinot believed a business model can be described through 9 basic building blocks that show the logic of how a company intends to make money. The 9 blocks cover the 4 main areas of a business: customers, offer, infrastructure, and financial viability. Customer strengths define different group of people, organizations, and entrepreneur aim to reach. A company may group its customers into distinct segments with common needs, common behaviors, or some other attributes. It must decide which segment it will service and which it will ignore. Once this decision is made, a business model can be designed around a strong understanding of specific customer needs. Customer relationships describe the type of relationship a business establishes with its specific customer segments. Relationships can range from personal to automated and can be motivated by customer acquisition, customer retention, or boosting upselling. These relationships can change over time, as well as over different stages of business growth. Channels describe how a business communicates and reaches its customers to deliver its value proposition. Companies' interface with customers is comprised of communication, distribution, and sales channels. They all play an important role in the overall customer experience. Value propositions describe the bundle of products and services that create value for a specific customer segment. It is the reason why customers choose one business rather than another. It solves a customer problem or satisfies a customer need. The value proposition is aggregation of benefits that a company offers in its customers put together. It creates value for a customer, which may be quantitative, for example, price or speed of service, or quantitative, for example, design or customer experience. Revenue streams represent the cash a business generated from each customer segment. If customers are the heart of the business model, the revenue streams are its arteries. Each revenue stream may have different pricing mechanisms, such as fixed list price, bargaining, auctioning, market-dependent, volume-dependent, or yield management. Key activities describe the most important thing a business must do to make its business model work. Every business calls for a number of key activities. They are required to create and offer a value proposition, reach markets, maintain customer relationships, and earn revenues. They will be different in different business models. Key resources describe the most important assets required to make a business model work. Every business model needs resources to allow it to create, offer a value proposition, reach market, maintain relationship with customers, segments, and earn revenues. They may be physical, intellectual, or financial. Key partnerships describe the network of suppliers and partners that make the business model work. Businesses forge partnerships for many reasons. They create alliances to optimize their business model, reduce risk, or acquire resources. Cost structure describes all costs incurred to operate a business model. Creating and delivering value, maintaining customer relationships, and generating revenue all incur costs. Those can be calculated relatively easy after defining key resources, key activities, and key partnerships. Some business models are more cost-driven than others. We have prepared an informative case study of the business model canvas for LinkedIn, which is one of the most successful social networks. You can find this case study in the fourth part of the Learner Handbook for Model 9. Success and failure are intimately connected. It is impossible to achieve a sustained success if we are not aware of the most common pitfalls that make businesses fail, so we can consciously avoid them. Our knowledge inventory must include best practices as well as worst practices. The former serve as a reference of what to do and the latter as a reference of what to avoid. You must realize there are many twists and turns in every business and venture. You also need to remember that success one day can easily be followed by failure the next day. Businesses is as much an art as it is a science. It is a matter of practical experience, judgment, foresight, and luck. To be successful in business, one must master the basics of business success. Fortunately, all business skills are not learnable. You can learn anything you need to learn to achieve any goal you set for yourself. There are 6 crucial areas of activity that determine whether a business will live or die. Marketing. An entrepreneur's ability to determine and sell the right product to the right customer at the right time. To be successful, it is necessary to conduct a complete market analysis before producing or offering any products or services. Entrepreneurs need to offer products and services that are well suited to the needs and the requirements of this current market. Finance. An entrepreneur's ability to acquire the money they need and account for the money they receive. For this reason, it is crucial to develop a complete business plan before commencing business operations. It is also very helpful to establish tight financial controls, good budgeting practice, accurate bookkeeping, and accounting methods. Production. An entrepreneur's ability to produce products and services at a high enough level of quality and consistency over time. It is crucial to make concern for the customers a top priority at all times. Research and development. An entrepreneur's ability to continually innovate and produce new products, services, processes, and responses to the competition. For business success, generating strong momentum and placing continuing emphasis on innovating products and services is very important. Regulation. An entrepreneur's ability to deal with the requirements of governmental legislation at all levels. For this reason, it is imperative to put determination, persistence, and patience at the top of the list on the part of the business owners. Labor. An entrepreneur's ability to find the people they need, establish personnel policies, training, and organizational development. To be successful, it is crucial to ensure that there is a high degree of competence, capability, and integrity on the part of the key staff members. Developing effective communication among the staff and open door policy for managers, especially the business owners, is also very important. Business success is not a mystery waiting to be solved. It is an attainable goal if only avoids the reasons for business failure and continually focuses on improving the areas that are responsible for business success. If you want your business to grow and thrive, you need to constantly have goals and strategies for moving forward. It is also very important to keep an eye on changing communication strategies and be agile enough to adapt quickly. When it comes to the success of any business, the entrepreneur himself is ultimately the secret to its success. Entrepreneurs should always be open to new knowledge and willing to learn whatever it takes to be successful. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for your attention once again. I know this was quite long. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you very much, Sanya.
Yes, thank you.
Very nice presentation. If nobody has any question, we can finalize this webinar session and see you on Monday for risk analysis.
On Monday.
Okay.
Thank you all who joined us. Goodbye.
Bye.